Uh, we're talking about building trust with businesses, citizens by using technology to improve service delivery. May we call on the stage the moderator of the session, Mr. Ayush Gupta ji, who's the partner KPMG India. Can we have a huge round of applause? Requesting Mr. Suneel Wattal ji, who's the Joint Chief Technology Officer, Department of IT, Electronics and Communication, Government of Haryana, to please join us on the stage. Shri Subhash Chand, CISO, ICAR-India Agriculture Statistic Research Institute, to please join us on the stage, please. Please take this session away.
Thank you everyone for being a fantastic audience throughout the session till now. Now we come to a very interesting session around how does the government use digital trust and technology to deliver services to citizens, to businesses, and how do we really leverage emerging technologies like AI, etc., to improve service delivery. Joining me here today on stage are three eminent personalities to discuss this with us today. So to my right, we have Mr. Arun, Executive Director for Telecom Consultants. To my left, we've got Mr. Subhash and Mr. Suneel coming from technology and the agriculture sector. So before we go ahead, I'd request them to introduce themselves and then we'll get started with the discussion. Mr. Arun.
Thanks, Ayush. I'm Arun Dagar. I'm the Executive Director. Executive Director TCIL, that is Telecommunications Consultant India Limited. We do a lot of IT, ICT projects along with civil and architecture. This is a Mini Ratna company under DOT. And as we go along, we'll share about what we have done and how we are transforming ourselves towards meeting the objectives which we have in front of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Mr. Suneel.
Okay, good morning. I'm Suneel Wattal. I'm the Joint Chief Information Technology Officer working for Government of Haryana. We basically manage all the e-governance projects, which are both citizen-centric projects as well as the government e-governance projects. So we'll be talking more about it. We have a huge footprint across the government, and if we look at the performance of Haryana government in digitization, we really progressed a lot in the last 4 or 5 years, and we are in the forefront. We are supposed to be one of the good states in e-governance.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Good morning, all, and thank you having me with all the people and very charming faces. Myself, Subhash Chand, CISO in ICR, and if you know about the ICR, it is Indian Council of Agriculture Research, and our major field is in agriculture research and education. And I think we are working very hard to decorate your plate anywhere.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Subhash. Maybe we'll start off with, there's been a lot of talk over the last few years, particularly around how digital and technology is helping government solve complex challenges in providing services, not just to citizens, but to various businesses, to residents, to NRIs, etc. And given that all three of you have been at the forefront of this, maybe we'll start with a little bit of view on how has digital really helped the government deliver these services to people and to businesses. Mr. Arun, if you'd want to start and share some thoughts on this.
So when we talk about digitization, the first important thing for any of the organization or any of the institution is availability of information in digital form. Okay, that's the most important part. The second is now the accessibility of this information, how the information is being made accessible to people. Third is quality of this information, okay? And then comes in like what is the feedback mechanism you have? How do you secure this information which is being provided digitally? Okay. And the most important part is whether the user is going to come and use your information or not is a user experience. So with these points in mind, I mean, I can share my experience with TCIL. I mean, we have been doing a lot of things so that the organization moves towards 100% digitization. Uh, I cite an example, like I joined this government setup not very long ago, and first time I saw those green files on my table. Okay, typically every one of you know when you go to government offices, you see those green files. Okay, earlier I used to wonder what is there in that green files. Okay, for one signature of mine, this much thick documents will come down to my table. Today we have an e-office in our office. All those files have gone, and far better than corporate. So that's a technology step the organizations are talking about and taking. Let's look at the procurement, how the procurement is being done now in government offices. There's a whole lot of jam you must have heard of. You must have heard of other government e-portals. So all the procurement is happening digitally. People are coming over, placing their products, there is a price, there are terms and conditions, and you buy through this. So all my tendering process, because I'm a consultancy company, I do a lot of projects all over India and abroad. TCIL has got a presence in 80 countries abroad, besides pan-India presence. We do a lot of procurement through this tender. We put up our NITs or our UIs on these tenders. We bid on these portals for various state government projects. Then next is, like, company embarked upon how to incentivize those startups, how to recognize them, how to incentivize them. So we came out with a very open empanelment agents platform for these startups. So if you go to TCIL site, any of the startup can empanel themselves, and they are given advantage out there so that they can bid up to certain value of the projects. So that's again is possible through digitization, and that information being accessed by the startup, which is happening at the deep south in India. I mean, anybody and everybody can do it, which was earlier not available to anyone. I mean, TCIL is mainly headquartered in India, Delhi, so people have to either travel down. No startup is willing. I mean, if I'm a startup, I won't do that because I don't have money to do that. It's the bootstrap most of the time. So now sitting at the comfort zone of mine, sitting at the place where I am, I can still wait for the projects, do the projects, and yeah. Similarly, there are open policies, the policies which are being followed by my organization in procurement or in any of the things like Make in India kind of policies. Those policies are very transparently, which has been put up onto my website, can be accessed through a website, through a mobile app. So these are certain things which are changing the organization, the whole structure, and we are more and more becoming accessible to public in various formats, be it websites, be it mobile apps, and be it other ways of having access to that information.
Thank you so much, Mr. Arun. Mr. Suneel, your thoughts?
Good morning. So specifically when we talk about digitization, and I would like to probably, I would focus more on the sector from which I come. I'll talk about government sector. So we're basically talking about two things here. One is the citizen-centric services, and second is the government processes. As far as government processes, governance processes are concerned, two very good examples that Mr. Arun gave was about government procurement and about e-office. E-office, actually I've cleared three or four files in the morning while I was waiting for this session. So that's a clear example. A file which would otherwise have been waiting for my physical signature for 4 days gets cleared while I'm doing other stuff. So having said that, again, when we come to citizen-centric services also, it has, the digitization has actually improved, increased a big footprint where ease of applying, ease of availing citizen services is there. Essentially, in governance, e-governance sector, we focus on 3 points. There are 3 basic points. One is the ease of obtaining a citizen service and also the speed of delivery. There's a tremendous change in the speed of delivery of services. The other 2 major things that happen with digitization is one, transparency, and second is accountability. Transparency obviously reduces a lot of flaws that were in the earlier processes. And again, what is happening is re-engineering becomes a part of digitization. And obviously processes become smoother and there are changes. I just give one or two examples here. One of the examples is that we have a citizen services portal. Government of Haryana has a single portal where most of the citizen services are available. You go to one particular portal, we have about 650 services that can be applied from that portal, whether it is applying for a birth certificate or applying for permission to build a house, or let's say for starting up a business or something. So all these things are available on a single portal, and what we also have done is under a Right to Service Act, we also have a lot of these services which are notified under RTS, and there's a timeline. The timeline set for these, if a service is not delivered within that timeline, within that SLA, there is an appeal mechanism. And we have rolled out very recently an appeal mechanism where there's an auto appeal. I mean, the citizen does not get he's supposed to get a service in 10 days, he doesn't get it in 10 days. Automatically, an appeal gets generated to the next level. The next level sits on it for 5 days, it goes to the next level. So there's an auto escalation mechanism which worked very well. The other part I would also want to point out here is that we have an executive level, top level executive level at our minister's level dashboard, where it's a consolidated view across almost 50 departments. So when our CM, and it's a very prestigious project, it's a key project, it's a dashboard whenever the CM reviews a particular department, he actually goes and reviews from that dashboard. Other than that, it's also that he looks at daily performance of certain, I mean, you can't have all the metrics there, but specific metrics, he looks at these performances on the fly. And we'll talk more about these initiatives, but this is basically the sort of initiatives that our state has taken as far as digitization is concerned.
Very interesting. Mr. Subhash, any thoughts, especially from a agricultural standpoint?
Okay. Let me simplify the business and delivery and what we are sitting for here. Because if we are sitting here, we have our own mandate, and either we are sitting here or any organization and any company. So there is a business. It can be a commercial, it can be citizen centric or other national interest may be there. While we are delivering our mandate to our audience, client, and who are the stakeholders, there may be challenges, there may be easiness, and that challenges can be addressed manually, commercially, or publicly, community-wise, or if we are not able to solve, we have to introduce new thing. We can say it is technology. Let me connect all the dots, because if any organization and any government entity, PSU or any company, ultimately we are going to deliver our best, and now competition is that we have to deliver in a reliable mode on the time. And on the other side, who are the stakeholder, who are the user, they want to see live what is going on. Issue is that in traditional way, if anybody require any service, he or she don't know what is happening with my request and how much time it would be take and how should I know. Other than that, when I request a service and I able to get my services, just like Suneel sir said, on the online portal, when you submit a request, you will get a request ID, and there is also a time, and you can visualize your progress. So it gives the stakeholder to a confidence. The technology we are using, I think we can involve the technology to address our challenge and repetitive work, which we can implement and make the trust to the user that same thing is we are doing in repetitive way. We can introduce the technology, but I think there is a limitation for technology. We have to understand for that also, because technology cannot do all the things. We have to ultimately involve the people, means your stakeholding, your management, and all these things. It is very required. And while we are introducing the technology in our business and you can say delivery model, so it should be transparent, as all my colleagues have said. It should be transparent, and I think it should also be a democratic way. That is the major, I think technology can play the major role, because in a traditional way, when we put a application in a physical way, everybody say आप किसी को जानते हो. That is the major, I think we have faced the things. आप ये बोलते आप किसी को जानते हो just, but right now you can request your service from anywhere in the corner of India. This is the centric, citizen centric. And other than that, because we are in a global economy, we have also built the trust with the base to the global economy and thought, because they people are coming and they are doing business with us. So we have to also build the trust with the globe level also. And if I come into the agriculture field, so I think everybody, will think that agriculture is out of technology and they are not using. But you will be surprised, in ICR and agriculture, we are the witness in 1965 with the computing. The mainframe computer we have. From there, we have built all supercomputer is there in India, and there are you can say it is grid in domain wise, where we do the research and all the complex research we do, and we have our own data center and DR all things. And the major thing we are we have the mandate. It is the research and education in agriculture field specifically. So we have the major challenges because we serve the many population of India. What they required, they required the advisory in the crops and all this, and crops, if you say in agriculture, there are variety of things. It can be crops, it can be fishery, it can be livelihood, and there are a lot of things are there. If you think about everything, because if you wake up in the morning and set on your bed, just do the things what you touch and what you eat and what you think about. So you will get every moment there is agriculture and all these things. So we have also challenges to deliver our services through education and agriculture. So we have set the portal and advisory for farmers also, and there are KVKs also, because if you think about the working of government and any PSU and autonomous body, so we are not directly touched to the farmer. There is a extension program is there, because our mandate is do the research in education, and by research you can educate your own population in agriculture field. So we do the research, and we have major challenges to how we can accumulate our knowledge, repository of knowledge. How we can, because nowadays everybody is saying that data is money and all these things. We know about that. If you have rich information, I think you are rich in economic, and I think it is the very driven things. We have to collect all the repository, our knowledge, what we have created, and our Prime Minister also give us a mandate. Just because you are doing the research on the public money, so you should contribute all your research and all these things in a repository manner. So we accumulate all these things. Second thing is in education, in COVID time, we have we have deliver all the our sessions and all these things to the students. So what I think technology can deliver a major role, but in a transparent, and I think it should not be over any privacy and all this.
I think some very interesting points there from Mr. Subhash around the need for technology to work with humans and the need to disseminate some of the knowledge. And that brings me to my next question. Historically, it has been possible to integrate technology into people's lives to bring transparency, to explain to people how technology works. Mobile apps, as you said, for farmers, etc., is a very good example of it. Mr. Suneel, Mr. Arun, you also spoke about some of those. But increasingly, technology is moving towards artificial intelligence, towards AI. And we've all heard about Gen AI and various forms of that, right? How do you see AI and automation contributing to the delivery of services? How do you see the government leveraging AI, and particularly in terms of bringing that transparency and that understanding for the common man in India? Maybe we'll start with you, Mr. Suneel, on this one.
Okay. So I think when we talk about AI and we talk about the emerging technologies, we are right now still almost in infancy. We're taking baby steps. And there's a lot of scope for growth there. There's a lot of scope for incorporating these things. Typically, one of the examples I'll give you of AI that we are thinking of incorporating is, we have a huge recruitment system. We've developed a recruitment system for our state where what we do is people, and this has been implemented only about last year, where people have there's a single portal where a person registers for, it's like an employment exchange, a person registers in a single portal for a job. And as and when government jobs come out from Staff Service Commission, the person says, okay, these are the applicable jobs, he can click for it. But before all this, once we register them, we've conducted a CET, a common entrance test. So there's a common entrance test, there's a score for that, and there are multiple levels. There's a group C position separately and group D positions. Those in government will understand these positions. And there's a entrance test for that is like a simple like a JEE exam, IIT JEE. So there's a score, and this score is mandatory. So when a job is opened up, let's say they are hiring clerks or inspectors in some department, your CET score plays a significant role there. And the volumes are pretty high. The CET that we did a Group C CET in January this year, and the Group D CET was done only last weekend. And when we're talking about these numbers, the numbers are almost about around 14 lakh people who appear for this. And incidentally, this has been the biggest common service test that we've conducted across all the states. So, and one of the biggest challenges that happens in these CETs is the admit cards. When admit cards are generated, and traditionally there's been a lot of manipulation. And again, because of transparency, there are cases where people register with multiple mobile numbers. See, you can keep a uniqueness. The uniqueness is by way of a mobile number or something. So now a person creates 4 mobile numbers, he creates 4, let's say, mail IDs, and accordingly he gets 2 or 3 admit cards. Traditionally, what we had seen is there is a history of a person getting 3 admit cards and 3 different people sitting for that exam. So it is a Ramchandar who the name is Ramchandra and father's name is Sham, but then there are 3 separate entities. Whoever gets the better score goes through. Now we are planning to use imaging for face recognition for these entrance tests. We captured photographs at the time of application, which gets correlated with this. The second thing of AI, the second example of AI that I wanted to point out here is our state also has a family ID. We have a program which goes like, if some of you are from Gurgaon or Haryana, we have something called Parivar Pehchan Patra, which is like an Aadhaar number. But it's not an individual ID, it is a family ID. So the overall family has a single family ID, within that there are members. And there are certain parameters which define that, especially the caste, category, family income, and things like that. And the government schemes, there are certain schemes, let's say there's a scheme announced by the government that there is this kind of a subsidy or a rebate available for people where the family income is less than 2 lakh rupees. So in a family ID, what is very essential is the family income. So this gets, there are multiple ways of it. When a person registers, he does a self-declaration, that income is verified. Now again, when the income is verified, it's verified by certain officers. There are manual touch points, and wherever there's a manual touch point, there is a tendency of bias. Now we are using multiple artificial intelligence parameters, multiple algorithms. A typical algorithm is linking your family income with your electricity bill. So if there's a person, and there are funny examples that come across. There is a family which has a family income of 3 lakh rupees a year, and they pay an electricity bill of 5,000 or 6,000 rupees per month. Right? So these are some of the parameters that can be done, and we are making more and more services mandatory where you have to have this family ID. The recent one which we found was there's a gentleman who goes to register his vehicle, and the registration guy asks him for a family ID, and there was some discrepancy, so it came back to the IT team to verify it, and we realized that this guy has a family ID, he has a declared income of 4 lakh rupees per annum, and he is registering a Baleno car. So a lot of things you can implement, a lot of AI algorithms for these things.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Suneel. Mr. Subhash, any thoughts, particularly from the agriculture sector, on how is AI being used?
I think using the AI, and it is the conversion of automation, and now we say it AI and deep learning, all this. But I would say and submit some serious issue before using AI and all this. First, we have to think about our privacy, security of nation. I think AI required, its food is data, information. And information may be any type of, it may be personal, and obvious it require personal when you are accessing or requesting any services. It is organizational base. So we have to think about that in self-regulation, any organization, any government, we should build some framework how we can use that model. And we should ensure that our data should not be go anywhere, and it should not be misused. That is the major thing. Sooner we understand the framework and all these things, sooner we will be more adaptive to AI, and we can leveraging the technology. So this is my first, because I look after the information security. That's why, because in world they are doing their own, because it is very open right now, and there is no framework. And if I talk about my field in my organization, yes, definitely we use the things. Let me share one example. Earlier, we start to deliver the advisory to the farmer, just like if there any disease in the crops, we set a question, just like question answer. Just if your leaf is like this color, if its height is there, and we put some question, he choose the things. Because there are chances of error by choosing and identify the things. So we deliver the things that if we reach at the end and our advisory say that it may be the issue, and this is the diagnosis, you can use that. After that, what we did, we trained our model, just say the farmer, just click a photo of any leaf. It is very easy. They can click their photo itself, their children, family member, or I think now mobile phone and this technology available with that. So we made more easy because it is a fun. Just click the photo and we are selfie right now because every time we click the photo or selfie. So they click just a photo of any leaf and any affected area, you can say plant, and submit to our system. It analyze all the things. It may be color, there other things are there, and they analyze and they produce their result. This is the diagnose and this is their remedy. So you can do. So we implementing that thing.
Interesting. Very interesting example about leaf and photo. And AI obviously relies on telecom massively and the infrastructure that these technologies bring in. So, Mr. Arun, any thoughts from you on how is AI being used, especially from a government standpoint?
Sure. Well, I mean, enough has been said about it. Though we have experienced AI in a different format earlier when we started talking about big data analytics. Right. I mean, it's extrapolation of data one way or the other. If we talk about typical AI, I don't think I can really, because that's something big. Nevertheless, when we start from big data analytics, we go to voice bots and chat bots, and coming down to now predictive things. TCIL does a lot of work in e-health and e-education. Okay, and in education, we are doing a very big project with MEA for African countries, whereby almost 25 African countries are my clients. Okay, the students are from there and universities are from India. And we have faced a similar problem what Mr. Wattal was talking about, admit cards. Okay, a student enrolls in multiple streams because they are being paid scholarships. So how to identify them? On that basis, the payment needs to be done to the universities and other things. So we have employed AI out there, the algorithm which has been in-house developed right now, though it is in a very simpler format. Okay, we can call it a kind of Excel formula or AI, whatever, whichever way you want to treat it out. We are also in a big way in e-health. When we talk about e-health, we are providing teleconsultancy and health management information systems. Again, on the basis of data which is being collected from district level, block levels, we are able to analyze the data and predict what kind of rush is going to be there in what kind of primary healthcare center or tertiary healthcare center. Okay, what kind of things we can see later on coming in. Okay, and anyway, I mean, now everybody is well aware of AI because you have seen that COVID waves predictions, second wave, third wave predicted, second is going to be much more harsher and third is going to be lighter and fourth is going to be even lighter. Okay, that is all the predictive analysis of data. Again, I will give another big use case which you have seen. You've seen cameras now all across in the states for traffic violation. You've seen cameras for surveillance. Those surveillance cameras are under video analytics. I can predict to a greater accuracy that a stone pelting event may happen in this particular area. So to that extent, the AI is going, and it's further on growing onto the data points and probes which it has set. So of course, this is a very in thing in a different format, maybe very basic in nature, but I'm sure with the data collection and everything, it's going to grow big.
Thank you so much. I think AI is all set to play a bigger role in our life, both as a citizen as well as from a government standpoint. Maybe I'll go to the last question that we wanted to pick up today, and Mr. Subhash, we'll start with you on this one. Is as AI and digital take a larger role in the services that government provides to citizens, trust is a huge factor. You spoke about data and a data economy. The data economy relies on trust that the government will keep our data secure, trust that the services will be provided in the way that we expect them to be. And this trust requires investments and efforts to be put in on an ongoing basis. What is your view on what the government has done and how is the entire trust factor in the economy building up today? Any thoughts?
Uh, yes, trust is the major thing when we engage each other, I think. And I think we can consider our relationship or in family, society, business to business, and citizen to government and government to world. Trust is the centric point which enhance your success of business and delivery, all these things. Yes, obviously, we built a trust when we roll out our digital transformation, and we understand the issue. If you come here, this place, I think everybody use that. You can use road, Google, or all these things. Why? If I think you observe the things, we people do not exchange or get the information by human. If I have to go, I have new in Delhi and I have to go to Krolbag, I would not say Suneel ji wo kahan padta hai, because we have a trust on Google. Why? Because it is available anywhere, anytime, any information. But we should not forget that we should not totally rely on the technology also. Sometime if you put any road map and वो आपको कहीं पे फंसा देता है, तो ultimately you have to talk about the people, local knowledge. So trust is very important. By making the trust, we have to ensure that their privacy of data and information be built. And the major thing with government is that trust is already inbuilt in government. If we say data is going to government, so 50% trust is there instead of any other than government. 50% trust is there. We have to work about on the rest 50%. So we have to ensure that our data would not be breached and it is used for the purpose for I meant deliver to the government and all these things. Second thing is that we have to make the reliability just like Google. Whenever I required the things, it should be available. It should not show me the blank page. It should be reliable. It should be available. So three major things are there. It should be reliable and it should be available and it should be ensure that your data and your information is protected with us. So these are the trust, and we can use the technology for trust to make the trust, because there are gaps in delivery of services. So we have to understand the challenges where we are not able to understand that these feedback not receiving to the government and any identity, you can say. So you can analyze our behavior analysis. You can find out their performance, how the things are delivered, where the application and all these things are not deliver or execution in 100%. So we can analyze the behavior analysis, people as well as the technology and your system also. If we built the combination of people, technology, and then we can make trust more, I think so.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Subhash. Mr. Arun, given what you spoke about, a lot of the work that TCIL does globally, particularly e-education, e-health, etc., you're working not just in India, but also in some sense representing India abroad in some of those programs. How does your organization and how do you in general see the role of trust when you're running these initiatives internationally?
Well said. With the digitization, when my information is entrusted with somebody else, how do how I am sure that it is being still kept confidential, it doesn't go into wrong hands and kind of stuff. I mean, that's the most important part with digitization. So as far as TCIL goes, I mean, one is we have access to the information because end of the day, people need to work on that information. So it's a role-based access which is being given to the people. It's a multiple tier authentication that happens. As from an organization level, we do get the audits done very regularly, like VAPT and ISO 27001, I think, for our security audit purposes. Okay, that ensures that the data which is there in organization is not compromised. Then further on, I mean, those comes into a technology front whereby there is a perimeter firewall which is being put in, there is an endpoint detection is happening and those kind of things, which is a day in and day out IT operations job. That is how the security of the data is being managed. And my certifications, the certification that the organization has ensures that the data within that organization is secured. That is why we have all those certifications which we have and not everybody has. Yeah.
I think that's very helpful to know how the organization is protecting data and applying best practices from around the world in protecting the data of the students, the patients who entrust it with their personal information. Mr. Subhash, Mr. Suneel, thoughts from you on how does the government actually protect the data that we citizens entrust it with, particularly given your state is so focused on digital technologies?
Okay. I think there are multiple ways of protecting data, and I will go back to the same thing that there are regulations and stipulations. We follow these rigorously. There are guidelines, there are certifications, there are audits. So the process is quite rigid, and we ensure whatever best can be done. Now, for the citizen to trust that, okay, my data is safe, it takes time. I mean, day one, a citizen would not be comfortable probably in sharing his data. Most of us have gone through this when we made our Aadhaar cards. We were very reluctant. I don't know about others, but when I went for my Aadhaar card, I was very reluctant. I mean, my colleagues got their Aadhaar card made, and I did it after almost 4 or 5 months, because I said, let's wait and watch. ठीक तो है. So, which is a human factor. But I think trust again is something which cannot be built overnight. You have to inculcate that. Building trust is something like brand building. Today I know I have a bank account. My relationship manager in the bank knows more of my financial history than even my family member, than even my wife. So it's taken time for me to build up that relationship with the bank, and I trust them with my financial information. So similarly, it goes back to the same thing, that trust is inculcated. The citizen has to trust. The second component of trust is it's not only data. Second component is the citizen or anybody availing a service has to trust the availability of that service, and that would compel him, that would motivate him to use that. Why would I use an online, why would I go, there's a service which is available physically and a service which is available online. I would go and avail it online because I know that it is more reliable, it is available, and it's quick, it's fast, and it is dependable. Now, if the portal was always down, I would be cribbing that this portal is down. So again, it goes back to building a narrative about the services and ensuring that the services are available, they're reliable to that extent and available all the time, and there is a rigid focus on their availability.
So what I'm hearing from everybody is reliability of services is very, very important from a trust standpoint. I think some very interesting points that everyone heard today about digital, about AI, about trust Any closing thoughts? And Mr. Arun, maybe we'll start with you. If there are some closing thoughts you'd like to share with the audience briefly.
I think I would just like to say that digitization in the way, and this is happening, and this is here now. And AI is taking over for sure. Okay, so it will be much more data information, intelligent information, which will be served to you as and when you require.
Thank you. Mr. Suneel?
Again, I would go back to the same thing, that it is a way forward. I think we made a lot of progress in digitization, but still there is still a lot to be done. Most of the places we've not digitized 100% services. We are only up to a specific mark there. Yes, one great thing that has happened with digitization is it has cut out, it has eradicated the middlemen. Most of us used to, I mean, I remember the first time I went to make my driving license way back, the first thing I did was, there's an office, there's a huge crowd, and I go into it out, give them money and get my license made. Today that doesn't happen. Today I apply for it online. So that middlemen are out, the process is simplified, and also there are times when the process is laid down. Earlier I didn't know where to go. Today, a lot of services, the respective departments have their SOPs on their respective portals. So I can go and I know what are the steps, who do I have to follow, and where do I avail the service.
Thank you so much. Mr. Subhash, any closing thoughts?
I think my closing thought will be technology people cannot be competitor to each other. These are the complement to each other, because there is a fear that AI can replace the people and all this, but it cannot be. It should not be. I am very optimistic that technology cannot replace the people, but we have to embrace each other with trust and availability, privacy, and respect to each other. So this is my thought on involvement of the technology, and we can deliver the better service in welfare on the human beings.
I think so. What I'm hearing from all three of our esteemed panelists is that while a lot has been done, there is cause for optimism on a lot more involvement of AI and digital in the common man's life, as well as leveraging trust-based factors to make sure that the data is secure. On that note, thank you so much to all three of our esteemed panelists. Thank you for taking out time from your busy schedules and joining us for this discussion. Thank you for being a lovely audience.
Do we have any questions from the audience also? I have time for a couple of questions, if anybody would like to ask. All right. Thank you. Yeah, sure. Can we have the mic? Just 1 second. Just a second, sir.
Hey, I'm CG from Yota. A question to you. You're talking about a lot of intelligence you have built in your organization to map the personal asset and the purchase which you are doing. My question to you is that this intelligence, if this intelligence built in across India, whatever the platform we can say, what kind of social and social impact going to happen on across this platform? Because I'm sure this is not a case only in Noida or Delhi. It's across India this is happening. You may have income of 4 lakh, but you are buying a OD kind of cars or. So what do you think about this approach? This is going to be kind of another revolution, kind of demonetization which has been enabled by government of India? If we implement this approach.
No, what happens is all these things, they will try to remove the aberrations in the system. They'll bring in transparency, they will remove the aberrations. So a person will not, so if there's a person who is incurring expenses like that, he will not try to hide his income. We will try to go to more realistic things. For example, a similar thing was done by maybe income tax when we started filing our returns. They said, if you're doing an overseas travel, you have to mandatorily fill your returns. A lot of people have started showing that. 15 years back or 20 years back, believe me, my father would never show the interest, his fixed deposit interest, he would never show it as his income. Today, I'm compelled to show. So those aberrations are going. It's a mind shift now. There is a change of mindset. People are trying to be more honest. It tries to bring in a level of openness and a level of honesty within citizens also.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Right, so thank you so much for this wonderful, wonderful panel. I would request Mr. Piyush Gupta, who's the business head, Government and Global Utah Data Services, to felicitate this amazing panel. Can we have a huge round of applause for such a wonderful panel? So we'll start off with Mr. Ayush Gupta, partner KPMG India. Thank you so much for being such a wonderful moderator for the session, sir. Mr. Suneel Wattal ji, who's the Joint Chief Technology Officer, Department of IT, Electronics and Communications, Government of Haryana. Mr. Subhash, CISO, ICAR-Indian Agriculture Statistics Research Institute. Mr. Arun Dagar, who's the Executive Director, IT Telecommunications Consultants India Limited. Can we all stand for a group photograph, please?